So, hi to everyone. Here we are again. My name is Gerardo, as you know, and this is Parsa, our
Hi.
guitar teacher. Classic, electric guitar, rock music, jazz, blues, and everything else you will think about guitar. We got it. And okay, he's the composer as well. And can you talk a little bit about yourself? Where was your development? Where you come from? And
Well, I'm from Iran, as you
okay,
know. I was there until I was 16.
okay,
I used to play, I think you know this, I used to play that instrument there, santur, when I
Santo.
was like
Okay,
7,
okay, Santo, very interesting.
Persian instrument.
Okay,
And for several reasons, I stopped.
okay. Then you
'Cause
moved to guitar, or you were playing the guitar at the same time as you were playing the Santo?
no, I started playing the guitar when I was 15.
Okay, so that's a very interesting point. It means that you don't have to start as early as possible, isn't it? To develop a decent technique on the guitar and to
Not
enjoy the
really.
music. No?
No, I don't think
Okay.
so. I think I think it was Tchaikovsky or someone. I think he started composing at like 25 or something. I mean,
Okay,
it's never.
interesting. Now, we have the example of Mozart that's he born composing basically.
Oh, 3, 4 or
Yeah,
something.
3 or 4. Start to write these minuets and all part of what becomes after themes for main symphonies and sonatas.
Mm.
Some of the themes were a very early, stage of his young age. Of course, it was very very weird. But that I think that one is a particular case of
No,
geniality.
it's
Okay,
hard to compare anyone to.
now we can't compare, isn't it? We never can compare. So, what do you think is good to do with a young student to introduce them the guitar? Exercises you will play for them, you will ask them what they actually listen to at home to try to understand the character of the students.
What age are we talking about? Like,
Talking about beginners, any kind of beginners.
well, it depends. If you're talking about like 6, 7-year-old kids, of
Okay.
course you start with more. You you take it more relaxed, of course, because guitar is very sensitive.
Yeah.
Um, I usually don't recommend acoustic, for example, for like youngsters,
It's
like
because of the
because
material of the
it's
strings.
very rough
It's very rough.
acoustic,
Okay.
because it's steel string. It's not
Okay.
like a nylon like this. This is a
Okay.
bit more, more chilled.
Do you have guys starting with electric guitar? They come like, I want to be a rocker. Let's start with
Yeah,
electric
actually,
guitar.
recently, yeah.
Okay.
And this is very interesting. Lots of parents think that the kid always has to start with
Classic guitar.
classical
Okay.
and then move on to electric. But even I started with electric,
No, didn't know that. Okay.
yeah, like after
Okay.
Santur at 15, I just bought an electric.
Okay.
So I started from electric and then I moved on to
All right.
classical.
So you went backwards in
Kind of,
history
yeah,
for
yeah.
electricals
kind
and
of
then back,
kind of
back, back, back,
backwards,
back.
yeah.
Okay, because I know that you like Bach very much for guitar.
Yeah.
Yes, really like Bach on the guitar. How difficult it is to, work on contrapoint on guitars.
Quite challenging. I
Okay,
would say it's for me personally, it's much harder than electric.
okay,
That
interesting.
that's why it's surprising to me because I mean they're kind of you can say they're completely different instruments. I
Yeah.
mean they're both guitars, but the way you play them, the way you approach them is like it's just completely different.
Are they different in size and weight as well? I believe for young kids, for them it's completely different
Electric
balancing.
electric is
They're
much
much heavier.
heavier
No, yeah, they're much
because there's
heavier
more
materials,
there's
more
a
metals,
bunch of
and
technology in it as well.
technology as well. Yeah. Okay. So you don't mind to start with an electric guitar instead of a classical guitar with the students? For you, it's
Absolutely not.
exactly the same thing.
I,
So
I always say start with whatever you like.
okay. So what do you think the parents that are convinced to start with a classic guitar before switching to acoustic or electric, whatever?
I mean, that's fine, I guess,
Okay.
but it's not necessary.
So
So
as you said, okay.
you're just forcing the kid to start
Okay.
something that is I personally don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
You can
So
just
the first approach to the guitar, will you explain them the parts of the guitar itself, or you
I
start
usually
straight with the notes?
I usually say I don't know if it's the best analogy. I usually say, oh, think of the guitar as a human.
Okay.
So I say it's three main parts. It's body, neck, and the head.
Okay.
Simply. And then one by one. Oh, we have the bridge here, the strings start, the tuning pegs.
Okay.
The standard guitar is 6 strings,
Okay.
and then once you start with an open one, and then you hold one of these guys frets, like
Okay.
just the fret, which is on the fretboard, the sound gets higher
Okay.
on that
So
one.
the closest you get to your hands, the higher get the
Basically,
sounds.
yeah, because it's
We're
getting
reducing the
shorter,
lead
you see.
on the
Yeah,
strings. Yes,
basically.
that's what is about, strings all the time. Yeah, very
Yeah.
interesting. And what is the right position? How do you hold your guitar? I see something very strange. Is a lot of people. So, for example, they do this, or some of them they go this, which I think is very wrong. Some others they prefer this position with lift up feet.
Well, with the electric,
Yeah,
I usually say, or did you ask specifically
for
about the
classic guitar, I'm
classical?
talking about classic guitar.
I mean flamenco players. I mean, I'm sitting a bit low, but they usually sit like this
Okay,
because this is their position.
okay,
But for me, I mean, I used to play like this actually, but to play like classical music and more in a more traditional manner,
okay.
it's better to have a footstool. And you actually realize that it's much more comfortable
You
to
can see the neck
stretch.
better like this, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like and the left hand, because you have more space here, it's easier to like
To bend, to turn.
do stretches.
Okay,
Like if I do something like this, it's so
okay,
hard to do it in this position. You see,
okay. Because you don't have
I'm
space to rotate your
completely.
shoulder basically and
You see
your
where my
elbow. Yeah.
elbow is? It's like
Okay.
just
Okay,
an
that makes a
example.
much
So a
difference. Yeah.
foot. That's why classical players they use a footstool because certain positions are much easier, and more importantly, it's easier to hold the guitar because this part just sits there
So it
and
meant
it
to be
stays
for the
there.
left feet basically. It meant to be for the left
The
leg.
left one, if you're
You're right-handed. Okay.
if you're right hand,
Okay.
basically. But
Okay. What is the position of the thumb?
this
Because there are a
is
lot of
not good.
discussion about how the thumb should be in the back of the neck. More like this, or more like on the top, or it depends on what you play.
Well, more like this.
Yeah.
It's very tricky to play classical music, I think,
Okay.
because you almost never use the thumb to play certain notes like
Okay.
this, like D chord over F sharp, for example. It's very like
Okay.
this is very popular on the acoustic, and I believe acoustic has a narrower neck,
Yeah.
so it's much easier to do certain things like that.
Yeah.
Some people even, for example, the F shape on the guitar
Yes.
to the bar.
Yeah.
Some electric guitar and acoustic players they do it like this. I
Okay,
think it
so
was
they use the
Hendrix
top.
who did it like this. And
Okay.
a lot of
Because
people
you got the
were
F down there, so it's basically the same
basically
thing. Yeah.
like that. Classical guitar, not really.
Okay.
Classical is more, it's more like that.
Okay.
I usually tell the students, oh, imagine a little tennis ball or something,
Okay.
or like a little apple,
Okay.
because it's really because at the same time you want to reach the top string with less
Okay.
tension.
So the
If
movement
this
of
is
the
too
elbows,
high,
the coordination and rotation of the whole, all this part of your body that goes around the neck, is like to you embrace the guitar
exactly,
itself.
because
Okay.
look, when I want to play here and then there,
Okay. So
I'm
okay.
I'm
So
used
it's
to
much
it. So
easier.
you
Yeah.
see, it's like
Okay.
that's why I always tell the students to like
Yeah.
have this kind of
Of positioning. Okay.
position. There's always a gap here,
Okay.
and you see my fingers are always facing the string.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
But if the thumb is too high, I have to do this.
So you
And
will
you see
stop some of the vibration of the other notes underneath.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's just
They're gone. Okay.
it's not very
A good exercise to start with.
at the top of my head. A very effective one, which was extremely effective for me, is that you can use the right hand, but you don't actually have to. This is mainly for the left hand.
Okay.
So you start with the fifth fret, ideally, and this is one rule: only one finger is allowed to lift at a time.
Okay.
So this is mainly for finger independence.
So you lift one, you hold the others.
So
You lift one, you hold the other.
you start like that, and then
Okay. To have that sort of legato sounds continuous.
you try your best to do it like that.
Okay.
But even without
That for young kids would be difficult, isn't it?
for young kids, I don't usually recommend this.
Okay.
Not for young kids. I usually, because just 1, 2, 3, 4 is fine to start with,
Okay.
and then eventually some patterns change. You're familiar with this?
Yeah, yeah.
And the piano?
I am.
Is very effective. And I usually tell them to start on the fifth, whatever exercise you're doing, and then when you go at the top, you come back. You go down, you come back.
Okay, so the
Go
fifth
up.
fret, then full fret, and then you go back. Do you use the
I
open
usually-
strings at the end?
Hmm?
Do you use open strings at the end, or you
No.
don't? No,
No
just
open
leaving for
strings.
the open four. Okay,
Because this is mainly for the left hand,
for the left hand.
actually.
Okay,
So at first, when they start, it's good to do stuff like this.
so get the sound right, and you know.
Because something like this, it's actually very challenging to start with.
Okay,
It's more
yeah, it looks
challenging
like
than it sounds.
it looks like yeah. I mean, for me as a pianist, it's more
Especially
difficult.
the fourth finger. It's
Okay,
like completely on its own, and it's not. We're not used
we
to
don't used
the
to use
fourth
the fourth
finger
one. Yeah,
being on its own.
question
completely.
of how we are actually made. You know, it's very because the
Basically,
enjoyment is
because when
very.
you even on the piano, when you use the fourth finger,
Fourth
usually
finger
it's
is
the
so
3
bad.
and 5 as a
Yeah,
support. No?
yeah. There is a school in Italy we use to call the independent fingers the first, the second, and the fifth. You know, with the fifth one, you still use a little bit of the other fingers too. But if you manage to have these three fingers independent, then you will have a very good grips on the keys and be very independent when you know. So 3, 4, and 5, these three, they usually use the whole articulation to be able to, you know, rotate it to get the better sound quality on your playing. But I'm talking about the piano, of course, it's a different thing.
But
Yeah,
when
for
you
this,
when you do the exercise and everything,
when
you're
we do
always
the
aware
exercise,
of
we
that.
try to articulate as much as possible, like a bodybuilder in the gym. It does the same movement, big movement. It depends on which kind of muscle is training. You know, so my big movement will be simplified during a fast sonatas, for example, with less of the area in movement, but more effective sound because my brain is sort of has the right geography of the keys in front. You know, so I don't need anymore a big step to be able to express the sound that I actually want. It's like when you learn how to walk, and then when you know how to walk very well. When you learn how to walk, you're very careful about your steps, so the kid is very uncertain. You know, so you see big movement of the legs and stability. And after that, you start, you know, you see them running and without even thinking anymore about what they're doing. So that's what we try to do: go around the techniques of the piano without actually thinking about what you're doing, but guide yourself thanks to the geography of the piano that you do at the beginning of stage of learning. You know, I believe this is very similar for any instruments. You know,
For sure.
yes. Thank you.